This is a hearing of the Appropriations Subcommittee for Labor, Health, Human Services, and Education. Today, the hearing has been scheduled at the specific request of the parent, Project Muscular Dystrophy, as part of their first annual legislative conference.
In 2001, the fight to end Duchenne arrived in Washington, D.C. Families like yours joined PPMD and dozens of others. We led that charge, and our voices made an impact.
Mr. Chairman, Congress is very generous to NIH, but this disease, the number one lethal genetic disease of childhood, gets only 1/1000th of the NIH budget. No wonder there is nothing available for these children. On behalf of the children with Duchenne and Becker muscular dystrophy and their families, and all of these people you see here with muscular dystrophies, we ask the federal government to commit $100 million over 5 years specifically for Duchenne research. Mr. Chairman, it's too late for my own sons, but with your help, this disease will change. Thank you.
Almost 2 decades later, families like yours continue to move mountains on Capitol Hill in the fight to end Duchenne.
Here we are now with over 30 clinical trials. When we started, there were no clinical trials. There was a limited federal investment in the muscular dystrophies, in Duchenne in particular, and now we have hundreds of millions of dollars going to Duchenne research, all because you tell your story.
But the fight is far from finished, and your voice in Washington is needed now more than ever.
It's important to have new families here in Washington because there's strength in numbers. The more voices we have, the stronger impact we're going to have.
My son is 3, was diagnosed about 1.5 years ago with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and I just don't ever want to get to the end and say that I didn't do anything. And so to be able to do something and be here and have my voice heard seems really big.
PPMD's annual advocacy conference is the only official gathering on Capitol Hill for the Duchenne community. Over the course of 3 days, we prepare and schedule congressional meetings for new advocates like you to make a difference.
I think it's extremely important for new families that are coming to advocate. We need new families to come forward. I think their message is profound because they're in a different time than when Suzanne and I have been doing this, and the treatments that they're going to get are different than what we have gotten, and together we're going to move mountains.
It's very empowering. A lot of what happens with Duchenne families is you feel out of control. You can't control what's happening with your son, and there's very little you can do. You can't suddenly go find a cure, but you can come here and you can use your voice and be empowered. It really is an empowering feeling to say, I'm doing something to help my son.
Meeting with lawmakers and staff may seem intimidating, but no one is more qualified than you.
Just make it like a conversation. If the issue is very important to you, they're going to want to listen and they're going to be receptive because you can't fake passion.
The biggest fear should be Duchenne and not speaking out to your member. Your member wants to know your story and hear. If you don't speak, who will on behalf of your child, your family? Your voice is important.
In fact, they need your input to help shape Duchenne research funding and federal policy.
If you come to Washington and educate your members of Congress, you will change the course of this disease. You will be responsible for your members of Congress becoming familiar with the disease, being willing to support legislation and funding that one day will lead to effective treatments and a cure.
PPMD's advocacy conference returns this winter. Visit endduchenne.org to learn how you can join us and make a difference on Capitol Hill.
Join the fight in Washington, D.C.
And in your hometown.
Become an advocate for yourself and for others with muscular dystrophy.
Together we can end Duchenne.
Join our fight, and together we can end Duchenne.